What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the horror show. I'm Cecil Laird.
And I'm Jaime Fuego!
And we are here to finally complete our coverage. This is just our coverage. This isn't the total, well, this is just our reviews, I should say.
Total swing?
This isn't our total coverage because we are going to be doing a ranking of the Freddy films. That's coming down the line, but...
Which has changed after this viewing, I must admit.
I'm glad, too. Me too, dude.
Two surged.
Skyrocketed.
So good.
Skyrocketed. So yeah, we're going to talk about that in our Freddy ranking. But today, and that actually might be coming this week, if all goes well and Fuego is willing to come back tomorrow. Hopefully we can. We're going to get that recorded for you guys. But today we are going to be reviewing the last story in the Freddy universe, which is Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. Nightmare Warriors.
Awesome title, I have to say.
Of course, there was Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors. This is literally a sequel to Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, which we just most recently reviewed as the comic book series. It's not only a sequel to that, but it's a sequel to all of the Freddy movies and all of the Jason movies that had come out as of the time.
Yeah, this is the quintessential, bring back every proverbial character of prominence you've seen before. Let's just, hodgepodge them in there. Let's, stuff that turkey, man. And it's awesome.
Stuff that turkey!
No, it's really awesome in the fact that you get so many different perspectives, whether it's, Freddy's daughter, whether it's Jarvis, there's so much going on in this, and it's much more nuanced. And then there's a weird push of a subplot of the U.S. government wanting to weaponize the Necronomicon and Freddy and all this stuff.
So let's do this like we do on normal reviews.
Sucks, but everything else is really, really good when
let's
they
talk
stick
about
to
our
the territory.
Overall thoughts first here, okay?
Yeah.
You glossed over the story overall, but we'll get to the story a bit more in depth. So your overall thoughts for this one?
It's less Ash-centric, it's always with these Jason stories. It's Jason-centric, man. Mm-hmm. You have pointed that out.
Freddy, once again, relegated to a bit of a sideline.
Yeah, he's just hanging and puppet master style, but it's
he does come back in his original human physical form,
which
but
is actually very
he
interesting.
never,
with
again,
the interrogation
I don't think there's any actual, there's one Freddy kill. Mm-hmm. Towards the end of the book, which we'll get to. But yes, so your overall thoughts are just...
Yeah, overall thoughts, I enjoyed the fan service aspect. It warmed my heart in that regard. Major important people returning, whether we're talking about...
I'll go through them all.
Alex and Jacob.
I'll go through them all.
So on and so forth. But yeah, I was down for that. And the DC thing... I just didn't think fit. It was weird, if they're gonna weaponize.
Oh, the Washington D.C.
Yeah, exactly. If they're gonna, utilize people who have been resurrected from the Necronomicon as military weapons, that's what they hinted at in the first two issues. It's I don't know. I didn't like it, but everything else I thought was fun.
It was a bit of a mishmash.
Yeah. It's all over the place. This story is bonkers crazy.
Very much is. Very bonkers crazy. It takes the craziness of Freddy versus Jason versus Ash to the next level, and that had already taken the craziness of Freddy versus Jason, the movie, to the next level, and that was crazy enough as it is. So now we're at the third power of craziness.
We have
within
to
the
11.
Universe. And yes, I completely forgot that a majority of the story is all about Freddy and a Deadite army taking over Washington, D.C.
Yeah, and the fact that the D.C. people were could we weaponize Freddy? Could we, bring on this army to help fight?
It was a silly subplot.
You even have George Bush turning into Freddy in an address to the nation, which is crazy, man.
It did. It went nuts.
Yeah. This story is, it's all over the place, but it's fun in that regard. I forgot about that part, and
so let's go ahead and give credit where credit's due, as we always do. I'm going to show the first. So this first issue did have 3 different covers. It had Ash, it had Freddy, and it had Jason, of course. You guys know me as a Freddy fan. If nothing else symbolizes my Freddy fandom, it's that I got the Freddy cover of the Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. The other covers all connect. But this first one had 3 different covers, and I chose Freddy. So that's the first cover.
Well, and also to chime in really quickly,
Please.
You know that how much I love this guy, the guy who did this particular cover. We have
this is Arthur Sweeten, right?
We have brought so many of his prints, man, and the fact that he did everything separated. I don't like the graphic novel cover, which I spent more money than I should have to obtain.
He spent way more money on this than I spent on these actual issues because I got them when they came out.
Yeah, but look at how the photoshopping is just kind of, I don't know. I mean,
it's a little mishmash.
Ash's neck looks bad.
Look, that's literally. But look, see, they used this Freddy.
Yeah.
So they used the 3 characters from the first issue,
and
they just photoshopped them together for the trade.
Yeah. The trade.
So this was the Freddy. You see the Freddy right here. That's literally the same Freddy. So the Ash cover looked like this, and the Jason cover looked like that. Boom! You filled in the gaps, buddy.
I guess
that's awesome.
I did, but the trade is like well out of print and sells for hideous amounts of money.
So what do the issues sell for, though?
I'm not sure what the issues sell for because I always like having that collectible, like singular sort of thing. I think they're like 10, 15.
I'll take the single issues over the collectible.
Yeah. I love having this in a single format though, and I've seen it as nasty as 150, closer to 2. Woo. I got it for 75, which is not bad.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's why I finally ended up buying it.
So the story literally picks up where Freddy versus Jason versus Ash left off.
Yeah, a year later.
A year. Yeah. Well, no. It starts off
as the one character references. It's a year later.
One of them does, but no. It starts off where Jason is just below the ice. Right. The car has crashed into him and taken him below the ice, and the Necronomicon has plopped down into the snow. Yeah. And so it picks up right where it leaves off, and once again, Freddy is taking the form of Jason's mom in order to resurrect Jason and bring him back to try and bring Freddy back once again, because Freddy achieved the demon level of craziness, and they do this red casted sort of recap of the last issue, and you find out about Ash and Caroline. Or Carrie, as it were, because she plays a big role in this, or at least in the first issue.
Yeah, exactly.
So immediately,
she's like the girl he sailed off into the sunset with.
Immediately, we see this government agency show up and, get the Necronomicon out of the ice.
And this is what I found so interesting, Cecil, is that this felt so Jason Goes to Hell to me, in the fact that there was a government awareness of Jason and the immenseness of his power, and they're trying to.
And he escapes. They're trying to capture him.
Yeah, they want to do militarialize, weaponizing, whatever stuff. They're like, okay, if we can have dead soldiers, we can win this war, and we can do all this different stuff. It's really wild in some of the ideas that they put forth in this, and I was most impressed with that, in the fact that they made it nuanced besides the fan service.
Well, but it also adheres to the tropes of the slasher movies of the 80s and 90s, where picks up right where the last one left off. So Jason, instead of a left arm, he has a left machete, right? Because in the last one, he replaced his left arm with an actual machete, a la Chucky with Child's Play 2, getting his hand replaced by the knife. So Jason shows up and cuts through all, most of this government agency that's trying to collect him, but they finally bring him down. But
they still collect the book, though. That's the big thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They take it back to DC, and they're using it as it's a weapon sort of thing.
And here's the thing: they actually show Jason's new look to an extent, right? Yeah, you see Jason's mask, which is the bottom half of it has been knocked off, and Jason puts it on. You see him walk off with the spine showing. So this is very obviously zombie Jason.
You and I had a big issue with this in this
we did because Jason ended up looking really silly after this, but it picks up with Ash and Carrie living a vacation life together. When Jason suddenly shows up
and kills her
and kills Carrie, and this is what I'm talking about. Look at Jason. So because the bottom part of his mask is missing, we get this ridiculous looking part where it's zombie Jason below the mask.
It's a weird zombie skeleton Jason, and it was something you even had issues with in the previous story, if I remember.
Well, no, this is the first time we've seen it this way.
Okay.
Because the bottom part of his mask got hacked off in the final fight of the last episode, or the last series.
We were talking off screen with Robert Dewell about how he did not like this particular look, so that's what I'm getting cross reference.
Exactly. But so Jason kills Ash's girl from the last movie.
Yeah, Carrie.
And he is Ash comes home and finds her head on a grill, just as her parents show up. And so Ash gets blamed for it. Yeah. And so it becomes one of those things. This is the cover for issue number 2. So just so you guys see, Fuego, let's hold these together because we'll show the connected covers. You hold that one, and I'll hold this one. So the next 3 issues actually connect together. Go ahead, line up that shotgun, Fuego.
Sure.
Line up that shotgun. Hang on, wait, let me get this underneath here. So there you go. That's how the next 3 issues connect together. So that's pretty cool. That's something you don't get in the trade paperback.
Booyah. Were those Jim Lee or...
let's find out.
Jim Lee was like Wildstorm at that point, man. And that
let's find out. No, I don't think this is Jim Lee, but I can find out for you right now. And actually, as a matter of fact, it's good that we give credit where credit's due to the actual creative team. So I think they don't actually give credit until the very end because So here we go. It's written by Jeff Katz and James Coolrick, and art by Jason Craig, colored by Gabe Eltabe, lettered by Wes Abbott, assisted by Christy Quinn, edited by Scott Peterson, cover by Shane Davis, Sandra Hope, and Edgar Delgado.
Nice.
Variant by Jason Craig.
Majorly appreciated, everybody.
Indeed. That's all the credit where credit's due. Yeah. So now this is what starts off as interesting. The government actually manages to bring back Freddy as his human form here.
A weird thing because of the fact that there was that one...
It doesn't last very long.
It's that one government worker, though, dude, who was like, imagine if we could gain Fred Krueger into our services as a fighter, and that's why they want to bring him back. They're like, okay, we could bring him as a dream warrior, nightmare warrior, whatever the hell. And they figure out very quickly that is not the best course of action, but nonetheless.
And here's where we're introduced to some of the people. Fuego, step to your left so I don't cover your face. There you go. Mate. So here's where we get introduced to the main people of the storyline. So this is Maggie from, or Margaret, or Maggie, a.k.a. Freddy's daughter. From Freddy's Dead, exactly. Otherwise known as Katherine Krueger.
She plays a big part in this.
She plays a big part in this. So this is her. She has teamed up with Dr. Neil from Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Yep. The
love
interest of Nancy before she died, exactly. And then at the very bottom, you see both Tori and hang on, the other person. Right? No, not Stephanie. This is Tori and Rennie. Tori and Rennie. So Tori is right here, the blonde. She is the blonde from Friday the 13th Part 7. And this, Rennie, is the girl from Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan.
Okay, that's the one that I don't recall very correctly. Because I remember 7 and the fact that she had psychic power, she killed her father, and... she raised Jason from the dead and stuff. So I don't remember Manhattan very well. I need to rewatch it.
It's okay, you don't need to. And now there are, just so you guys know, there are 4 alumni from both Nightmare series and the Jason series in this. So right away you get Maggie from Part 6 and you get Dr. Neil from Part 3. That's 2 Nightmares. You get Tina and you get Rennie from 2 different from 2 different Jason movies.
Oh, dude, remember you get Alice and Jacob too.
Yeah, you get Alice and Jacob from Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5, and then you also get Tommy Jarvis from Friday the 13th Part 6.
Yeah, so I mean, he was initially announcing smaller characters, but for bigger, more proverbial and just prolific characters. I mean, Jarvis and Alice and Jacob from.
There's one other though. There's 4 from each, and we've only gotten 3 from the Jason ones. Let's see. So Maggie and Neil, Rennie and Tina, and Tommy Jarvis, And all right, well, we'll see as we go through because I'll recognize as we go through. But this is what the artwork is looking like, just so you guys know.
Yeah,
so
it's fun, man.
It's fun, good. But it's not quite as detailed.
It's not
nowhere near as gory and dark as the other series have been in the Wildstorm universe.
Yeah, it reminds me very much, as far as Wildstorm goes, of Jim Lee's series.
Holy shit! I totally forgot that this guy gets run through in the nuts by Jason's machete, and so much so that it literally looks like Jason's got his arm shoved up the dude's butthole. Whoa! How did I not pay attention to this? And look, he's got him decapitated.
That's a very nice bit.
That is some aggressive. This is going to get our episode demonetized, but look at that. That's the kind of craziness. So this is what Jason looks like with the bottom part of his mask missing. Like, do you guys like that look? Does that look good to you, or does that look silly to you? To me, it looks silly. But it's so aggressive. You know what? I take it back.
In the comic book form, I don't really mind it, man.
The next page, this chick gets the top half of her head cut off. Like, I gotta give credit where credit's due.
Jason goes nuts with those guys from the train.
Jason goes crazy.
Yeah, this is the guys from the train, if I remember correctly.
Right, the hobos.
Yeah, man, he just makes it nasty with those girls. Make it nasty.
So yeah, Freddy, so the government is trying to work with the Freddy that they've brought back. Ash is just trying to find Freddy and Jason after Caroline has been killed.
Yeah, he is trying to, seal the portal of sorts, because remember, there are Deadites that have been brought on by the resurrection of Freddy, because Freddy was in that Deadite world, and so there was a whole legion of Deadites.
He was a part of the Necronomicon.
Yeah, and without spoiling stuff, there's lots of those who were killed by Freddy who come on in a ghostly manner to help kill all of the Deadites that are swarming DC.
We'll get to that. That's coming soon.
This is a really big story that just... It almost blows its load.
They try and contain it in a comic book series.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy with everything that they're attempting to do. But
Alice and Jacob play pretty big parts, and so Freddy starts to tempt Jason again. Again, look at how silly that. See, it's how they draw him. Like the last time they showed him, it wasn't that silly, but when he looks like this looks really dumb to me.
True.
I don't know. But Freddy is once again trying to entice Jason because Freddy doesn't quite have the control that he wants to have. But there's one thing that happens because Freddy still has control of the Necronomicon. This is a pretty big part. Where he resurrects Jason into a much younger, fully formed version right here. So he doesn't have the one machete arm. He is old school Jason. He has long hair, and it doesn't even look like his eyes are messed up anymore.
Well,
so it's like
that's what
he
special
needs him.
And that's what ties in with one other character, as we find out later on. Yeah.
So once again, and this is where we see that, yes, Freddy has indeed bonded with
the Necronomicon.
The Necronomicon.
Yeah. It's like the souls of everything else is bonded with his body. When you see the fleshly moving on the book, it's the same on Freddy's torso that you saw in 4, which him and I liked so much, So
and here's the scene that sticks out in both of our minds, because this is where it's revealed that Maggie, the daughter of Freddy Krueger that killed him in Freddy's Dead, is actually working with him.
Yeah, she's a part of the process.
She's a part of the process.
Father and daughter.
And look it's really gross. Freddy starts making out with Maggie and even gets a little bit deep down low with the fingers.
She is grabbing those nice boobs and
grabbing the boobs and below. Not only that, look at that, Fuego. It's crazy.
Oh, I see that now.
Crazy. But yeah, so she becomes Katherine Krueger, and I actually kind of like this.
I thought it was dope.
Because remember, he calls her Katherine in Nightmare on Elm Street 6. He's like, Katherine. But look, so she gets her own claws, her own gloves, which have straight razors, and she gets one on each hand. So that's Katherine Krueger after Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
He even whines about it at the end of this film, where he's like, my daughter was taken from me, and so on and so forth, when he's about to be sucked into the Necronomicon verse of sorts. And this, for fan service, guys, is 100% way I mean,
even Army of Darkness fans, look.
Yeah.
We get the general guy from Army of Darkness, showing up as one of the Deadites that comes to lead the army.
Yeah, it is way significantly.
And that's just issue number 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, way significantly something you should not disregard. Holy crap, is it entertaining and
so
nasty.
Issue number 4.
Yeah.
Yep, this last one, or the last part of the trilogy of covers that you saw.
Mm-hmm.
So Ash is once again trying to get control of the Necronomicon, and as he's doing so, we actually get to see a big, giant metal creature version of Freddy show up and try and take Ash out. And so this honestly, this story is kind of all over the place.
It is. And the fact that you get so many like pre-fan references in Alice and Jacob and Tommy Jarvis, who I don't even know if we referenced properly.
I did mention Tommy Jarvis, and he is ripping a mask off here, trying to get close to Jason to take him out. Tommy Jarvis still is very much of the mind that he's the only one that can take out Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, he's written in the regard where he's, just like, I'm the only one, so on and so forth, chosen one, last.
Now I remember the last Jason person, that was Alice. Or not Alice, but the Stephanie from Freddy vs. Jason.
Which is the
baby. She was the baby or not Freddy vs. Jason, in Jason Goes to Hell. She was the baby in Jason Goes to Hell. And so she doesn't remember all the craziness, but she is haunted by it nonetheless. And so she is actually of the Voorhees bloodline.
Yeah.
And so at one point, she is pulled aside and she kind of becomes a new sort of Jason character at one point, while Freddy is still fighting Freddy.
She puts the mask on and she goes
Ash
to fight.
Is still fighting Freddy and everyone.
Yeah.
And we actually see one of their skin gets pulled off right here, and they have to literally put her skin back on her
in the dream world.
In the dream world, so she doesn't get completely freaked out and everything. This story went nuts at different times. I mean, literally part of it takes place in the Oval Office here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
That transformation of George Bush into Freddy Krueger is just legitimately crazy to me. I can't even fathom. It's so funny.
So we're getting into issue number 5 here of 6. And, I mean, what did you think of how it resolved the whole Freddy versus Jason versus Ash story? I think it was a little bit... it was way too much for what
this
was,
one was what I would describe as an overstuffed turkey. There were so many different ideas, from the Ash stuff to the Freddy stuff to the Jason stuff. Yes, Jason still has Mother, masquerading as Freddy Krueger, which is, just throwing a monkey wrench in the situation. But then you've got Ash, and he is post previous story where he's living peacefully with Carrie, and then Jason comes and kills his lady, and so you've got that, and then...
But by this point, Freddy has taken over Washington, D.C.
The aspect of everything going down in D.C. is my biggest just qualm, man, with this story. I don't know where they were going, and there's plane assaults on, this big battle of Deadites from the Necronomicon world versus everybody else.
But the big Freddy thing takes them down. Like, there's a big Freddy thing, big Freddy in the sky that takes them all down. So Freddy is largely in control of the waking world now.
Oh, no, Freddy is the one who was responsible for the Deadites coming from that world to, modern-day DC.
So here's where Stephanie,
I don't know what I want to say.
The bloodline of the Voorhees, gets brought back. She gets turned into the sort of Jason bloodline character,
and she puts the mask on and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. And then once again, it's Jason, and then Freddy's daughter gets involved over here. You can see her using her new gloves on Jason's chest, trying to cut him up, even though Jason's been completely reborn.
Yeah, so it's like basically Jason's daughter versus Freddy's daughter fighting each other, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm. And it gets even more nuts with flagpoles getting shoved through people. But it doesn't stop Jason, and there's ultimately a big confrontation. And not only that, but Alice makes a bit of a sacrifice.
Oh,
here.
That's right. Yeah, because one gets wounded, and then
so Jacob is intended to now be the new savior, because Alice has to sacrifice herself.
And he brings in the cavalry, man, of all the killed Elm Street kids.
Indeed, all the killed Elm Street kids, and The sister right here that he fought in part 3 as well. Freddy's mother, Amanda Krueger, exactly. So that's where we leave off in issue number 5, and that picks up issue number 6, where Freddy's past ghostly victims are now. Oh wait, hang on. Let me make sure I showed you both of these put together, so you see both of the issues and how they kind of attached. So this is issue number 6 right here. And yeah, starts off with a big ghostly battle. You see Jacob all powered up and sending fighters out, and it's actually all of the Elm Street kids and everything that take out the entire army of darkness.
Yeah, anybody who has previously been killed by Freddy, their spirits are still lingering around, and they are the ones that go formidably forthright right against the Deadites that have been brought with Freddy when those stupid DC people resurrected him. And man, it's such a strangely nuanced book when you think about the fact that there were DC like hypocrites and bureaucrats that resurrected Freddy, and then this is where we've come. It's such a weird story, but I still like it.
And then it's wish fulfillment because you get to see Tommy Jarvis go up against Jason once again, a powered up Jason. And
it's not the Jason we think, though, because remember?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, we see a lot of different stuff transpire. Freddy's still
So we're spoilering, guys.
We're a little bit spoilering. I mean, they can't tell exactly what's going on, but Freddy is still trying to absorb all the powers and trying to hang on to everything that he's amassed. It doesn't work out well for him because he starts to fight with Ash. Ash fights back and actually breaks Freddy's arm here, and
so in some ways
it's a big throwdown.
Less of an Ash story than it is just like a Freddy, like Jason story.
All right, so picking back up, hopefully not far off from where we left off. There's this big climactic battle where Jason Voorhees is once again squaring off against Tommy Jarvis, and Freddy is trying to save himself. And there's a lot of craziness going on, and
or is it Jason Voorhees is the craziest thing?
Is it Jason Voorhees? Yeah. And there's heads being cut off, and Stephanie shows up, and there's a lot of nuts stuff going on, and eventually you see that Dr. Neal is working with Nancy, whose spirit shows up in the last episode here. To help fight against Freddy, and
just to epitomize the fan service perfectly, man. When I was rereading that, it's just like, she is like leading him through that last aspect of it, and it's heartwarming. It's cool. I really dug it, honestly. I did.
And then finally, the Necronomicon takes the powers that it had given Freddy and takes them back, and he becomes human again just in time for Ash to square him up with a shotgun blast, and it doesn't go well for Fred, and he gets tossed back into the gaping gate that appears, and that's where we're kind of left off, where Jason dies, so to speak. Freddy is sucked into the portal, and Ash goes off and drives off on his own, kind of thing.
Yeah, we have a big-time family connection in this between Stephanie, between and
Stephanie Voorhees,
exactly. Stephanie Voorhees between the girl from Freddy's Dead, Amanda. What was her name?
Maggie.
Maggie,
otherwise known as Katherine Krueger.
Yeah, exactly. Well off. And
and she comes into play at the end. We don't want to ruin exactly what happens because it's worth you guys checking it out for yourselves.
Yeah, the comic series is really, really good, actually.
It gets pretty nuts. It's so over the top, and especially the Washington, D.C. stuff and the Deadites taking over the government and things like that. It's over the top. All right, guys, so we're having trouble with the software. Apparently, I'm out of space on the computer, so we're going to wrap this up right now. But overall, Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, Nightmare Warriors was a fun read.
Yeah.
If extremely over the top at times. I actually have to say I think I enjoyed the first series more because there was so much craziness that didn't kind of amount to anything in this one.
Yeah.
Or at least stuff kind of made sense in the first one, and we got more Devil Freddy and stuff like that. So it was okay, but it wasn't great by my estimation. The artwork was okay. Again, nothing particularly to write home about, but it was just an overall okay thing.
Yeah.
For you?
Yeah, I think this one was more so deliberate fan service in the fact of trying to incorporate like both Friday and Nightmare people. Then I don't know, it was with diminishing returns, as people would constantly say. And it was fun, but as a whole, the DC stuff did not fit. It felt strange, and the fact that we're trying to mobilize, Necronomicon, resurrected people like Jason, and then they even bring in Freddy at one particular point, and so yeah, it didn't work as well for me. It was just strange writing. So, but as a whole, it's Freddy and Jason, man. I mean, I liked it, and I'm glad that I got the chance to read it. So
fair enough. So if you guys have read these comics, let us know in the comments down below. What did you think of them? If not, are you tempted to seek them out or not? I mean, I only have 5 here. I'm not sure where the first issue went, but nonetheless,
I still have the trade.
There you go. So let us know if you've read them. If not, does it sound interesting? Did you like the sound of the last one? Do you like the sound of this one? Let us know in the comments down below. Guys, as you watch this, there are still just a couple of days left to contribute to the campaign for Dylan's New Nightmare. It is a God bless, Nightmare on Elm Street fan film that is starring Miko Hughes reprising his role as Dylan Porter from Wes Craven's New Nightmare. We have raised a good amount of money. We can still raise a little bit more to make sure it's as good a fan film as it possibly can be. So please check it out. The link to that is in the description box. If you can't contribute, but you can only share it out, please do that. We greatly appreciate that as well. But until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
And gracias a Jaime Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.